Hi guys, this is just a quick video overview of religious festivals, some revision for you guys to do on both Christianity and Islamic festivals. So we're just going to run through what festivals are, what the important ones are for both Christianity and Islam, and also looking at some of the meanings behind things and why they're important to Christians and Muslims in Great Britain today. So, just a quick overview of what festivals are. So, a festival is a time or day of celebration for religious reasons. So, the context in which we're looking at festivals in today is in the religious sense. So, they play an important role in helping Christians and Muslims remember the major events that have happened in their religion. So if you're thinking about Christianity, we're thinking about Easter and Christmas, and then we will be also looking at some of the festivals for Islam. So we're looking at Id-ul-Fitr, Ashura, things like that. So many Christians and Muslims celebrate the same festivals every year. And the two main Christian festivals, as we've mentioned, are Christmas and Easter. And then Muslims celebrate three festivals: Id-ul-Fitr, Id-ul-Adha, and Ashura. So we're going to look at Christmas first. So this festival celebrates the incarnation and birth of Jesus. The incarnation, of course, being God becoming flesh in Jesus. And it begins on December 25th and lasts 12 days until Epiphany. We're going to look at some of the different symbols that are used to represent the different parts of Christmas. So, looking at the candles here, they are lights that represent Jesus as the light coming into a world of darkness. So this idea of Jesus as the light of the world. Nativity scenes, they show baby Jesus being born into poverty. So he started from humble beginnings, was brought into this world for the people. Christmas cards and gifts, they recall the wise men's gifts to Jesus. So the wise men travelling from the east brought these gifts: gold, frankincense and myrrh. And we use Christmas cards and gifts to recall this. Midnight Mass or a midnight service reflects the holiness of the night that Jesus was born and the joy that Christians feel at Jesus' birth. And carol services as well have Bible readings that remind Christians about God's promise of a Saviour and the events of Jesus' birth. So they'll often go through different verses describing the timeline of Jesus' birth at Christmas. And then giving to charity. So Christians give to charity in this time of peace and goodwill because God gave humanity the gift of Jesus, his Son. Okay, moving on to look at Easter now. So, Easter celebrates the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. So celebrations begin before Easter Sunday and they finish with the Feast of Pentecost. So Jesus was crucified on Good Friday. He went into the tomb, then spent Saturday there, and then was resurrected on Easter Sunday, and that's when Christians celebrate his resurrection. So again, we're just going to look through a bit of a timeline on what happens in the lead up to Easter and over the Easter weekend. So Holy Week, that's the week before Easter Sunday, and this is the week that remembers the events leading up to Jesus' crucifixion, including his arrest and trial. So that's when he arrives in Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, and all of the events that happen in that week. So the Last Supper happening is celebrated on the Thursday, and then Good Friday, when Jesus was arrested, put on trial, and crucified by the Romans. So leading on, on Good Friday, so that's the day Jesus was crucified, as I just mentioned. There are special services and processions led often by a person carrying a cross or some sort of representation of Jesus' crucifixion. On Saturday night, some churches hold a special service that celebrates Jesus' resurrection. So the priest will announce Christ is risen, and people will answer, he is risen indeed. Catholics and Anglicans have a special ceremony that begins in darkness, and then the Paschal candle is lit to symbolise the risen Jesus. This links us back to looking at Christmas, when we use candles to celebrate Jesus as the light of the world. Again, we have this light of the world idea in the Paschal candle. And then the service typically ends with communion. And then on Easter Sunday, churches are filled with flowers and special hymns are sung to celebrate. Services are often held at sunrise, although they can happen later in the day. And breakfast includes eggs that symbolise new life. And often we have chocolate eggs now, and that has that same kind of link to this idea of new life. So that's just a quick overview of the two major Christian festivals, and of course you can think about how these festivals affect Christians in modern day Britain today. So we see that we are leading up to Easter right now. We still have all of those kind of Easter services, and of course we've got eggs and things like that. So maybe this week when you're out and about, you can have a look around and see in what ways can you identify some of the things of Easter week. So moving on now to the Islamic festivals. So we're going to start off by looking at Id-ul-Fitr. So this is a Muslim festival that celebrates the end of Ramadan. Ramadan is happening right now, so Eid will be coming up at the end of that. So it means festival of breaking of the fast. Of course, during Ramadan, Muslims are fasting, so this festival celebrates when that fasting ends. So Muslims are not only celebrating the end of the whole month of fasting, but they're also thanking God for the strength and help that he has given them to fast for the entire month. So they also give thanks to God for providing his guidance and wisdom in the Quran, the first revelation of which was made during the month of Ramadan. Of course, that was the Night of Power. So Muslims wear their best clothes, they'll decorate their homes, spend time with their family and friends, and often communal celebrations are held, including holding special prayers, and a special meal is eaten. So many Muslims also visit their local cemetery to remember and pray for family members who have died. So the next one we're going to look at here is Id-ul-Adha. So Id-ul-Adha is the festival of sacrifice. So it's celebrated on the 10th day of the month of Dhul-Hijjah and lasts for 4 days, and it is celebrating the completion of Hajj. So this journey that Muslims go on to visit Mecca of Hajj, which is the 5th pillar of Islam. This is celebrating the end of that. So it remembers and honours the Prophet Ibrahim, who was willing to sacrifice his son Ishmael on God's command. So God prevented this, and he gave Ibrahim a ram to sacrifice instead. So during this festival, animals are slaughtered to remember this. So a sheep or a goat may be sacrificed. The meat is then shared out among family, friends and the poor, each of them getting a third, and Muslims will often donate to the poor on top of this. So they go to the mosque for special prayers, they dress in their best clothes, so again, a bit like Id-ul-Fitr, and they thank God for the blessings that they've received. And then they will visit family and friends and enjoy meals together. And an effort is made to make sure that everybody is included in the celebration. So even people who aren't able to complete Hajj can celebrate this as well. So then just, if you're referencing this in any questions, you can reference in Surah 37. That's where the Quran describes the dream that Abraham had where God asked him to sacrifice his son. So linking the festival to this story that is in the Quran. So the last festival we're going to look at is the festival of Ashura, and it's important to note that Shia Muslims and Sunni Muslims celebrate Ashura for different reasons. So let's have a look. So it's celebrated by both Sunni and Shia, but as I've just said, they celebrate it for different reasons. So Shia Muslims celebrate Ashura as a day of remembrance. It takes place on the 10th day of the month of Muharram, and they are remembering the death of Hussein. So remember, this is Shia Muslims. They are celebrating the death of Hussein, who was the son of Imam Ali and the grandson of Muhammad. So it's a day of mourning for his martyrdom. He fought in a battle and he died, and this is celebrating his martyrdom for his faith. So Hussein's death is seen as a symbol of a struggle against injustice, tyranny, and oppression. However, for Sunni Muslims, they celebrate Ashura as a day of atonement. So they remember it as a day when the Israelites were freed from slavery in Egypt. And some others believe that this is the day that Noah left the ark after the flood. So slightly different reasons, but they still celebrate the same festival. It has the same name. So Shia Muslims, so again, Shia, this is only Shia celebrated in this way. They perform plays and reenactments to tell the story of Hussein's death. So they do this to remember the events at Karbala, which was the battle in which he was martyred at. So many Muslims also take part in public expressions of grief and mourning, and this can include beating and cutting themselves. However, Shia religious leaders do encourage Muslims to donate blood instead. And in Iraq, many will go on a pilgrimage and will visit Hussein's tomb, which has become a shrine. So Sunni Muslims observe Ashura by fasting for the day, and they may also give to charities. So slightly different way of celebrating it, but again, both celebrating the same festival of Ashura. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. I hope your revision is going well, and all the best in your exams.